He seems to be kind of like dialed down a little bit, like he's kind of gotten kind of domesticated. Is he going to go a little unleashed a bit more now?
Funny that you've noticed that. I've noticed that too. Yeah, he's sort of taken a bit of a passive turn this season, and that is mostly due to him contemplating what it is that he actually wants in the end. They've been fighting, and he's been fighting for so long now, all last season and this season, against something. He knows what he doesn't want. We're not sure that he knows what he wants once he gets there. Even if he wins the battle, then what? What's he going to do? So a lot of that is geared towards that, which is now, I'm assuming and hoping, coming up in these final episodes.
How does Miles react to Monroe being around again?
Deep down, he loves having his buddy around. That's the thing. That's the sort of the not so well kept secret that he has from Rachel. I mean, she's kind of basically telling him, like, come on, you know you want him around just because you want him around. And he's in sort of denial about that because Monroe represents everything that was bad about his life before. Yet when he looks back at that, that life was never boring, and I think he realizes that.
Miles and Rachel have been so off and on throughout the course of the series, and now they seem to be firmly on. What can you tease about where they're going in the second half of the season?
I don't really think that anything is firm on this show. It's there for a second, but you can always expect things to change very quickly just when you think that you're comfortable with them. Yeah, I mean, we have solidified it somewhat this season at long last, but I think now that that's happened, I think we're moving on to an arena that might be less comfortable and a little bit more sticky, and it's almost like there's a love triangle between he and Monroe and Rachel, because there's this dynamic where, you know, will he, won't he with her, and will he, won't he get back with him to do their business. Not in a homoerotic way, just, you know.
When Charlie gets back with her 5 men, what does kind of Miles, is he kind of proud of her for taking that leadership role, or?
I think he does take a certain amount of pride in what she's become, but he's also deathly afraid of what she's become, because what she's becoming is a little him, and never in a million years would he want that to be the case. But I'm sure that there is. I mean, because this broken little child that he met at the beginning of the show has now become this solid warrior. I think he probably takes some good credit for that too. But at the same time, he's always going to be sweating that. He's always going to be looking over his shoulder to make sure that she's still there.
What can he do to kind of groom her in the right direction?
What could he do? He could do a lot of things. He could get her out of the fight. He could get them all out of the fight, actually. I mean, you know, I wonder about that all the time. I mean, you know, what if Miles just made the choice to, like, you know what, let's just go live over here. Let these guys handle their business. That's just not in his nature. And she's not only his, you know, the family that he never expected to have, but she's now a viable weapon that he needs. So what he could do is pull her out, but he's not going to.
Nevilles come back and with his son, and he has a very clear agenda. How is that going to affect the group dynamics when they're all back together?
Well, there was never any love lost between Miles and Neville. There never will be. As a matter of fact, I think we say in one of these, I think Miles says in one of these upcoming episodes, "I never liked you," and that's the way it's going to be. And yeah, there's never been any inkling of trust between my character and his, and I can, it's safe to say, for the rest of the group as well. I mean, he's never shown himself to be anything but a force of evil. we are going to be forced to work with him, and whether that means use him or whether that means he's trying to use us, we're going to come to need each other, and it's going to get sticky.
Do you see Miles' perspective changing on how to handle things with all of these different personalities coming into play? I mean, is he being influenced at all by Charlie's way of leadership, or Monroe in his ear, or even like having to deal with Neville on a different level? Is that changing his point of view of things?
We've spent a lot of this season, Miles and Charlie, not being around each other much, and that's you have to kind of write your own storylines sometimes because a lot of it's not written for you. To me, that's because he's learning to trust her. He's learning to let the leash out, and the dynamic between Miles and the rest of the characters is, like I said, Monroe is always going to be there. He's always, we killed him and then he came back to life. And it's like, God, it's just that it's the family that won't go away. You can spend 15 minutes at a family reunion and you've had enough. And this is sort of a lifetime of it. And that's always been sort of Miles' struggle. He came into this fight not wanting to be in it. And now he's unwillingly fallen in love with all these people in different ways, as much as he hates them. So that's always going to influence what he does. That sort of like, whatever, I'll do that, but I don't want to.
Can you tease a little bit about the episode 15 that takes place in 2014, where we find Miles?
Yeah, that was so much fun. We wish we had more episodes like that because it's a real departure from what you expect to see from the show. It just sort of turns everything on its ear. We find Aaron wakes up in this sort of nano dream situation, and everybody is what they might have been in 2014 had the blackout not happened. What the blackout did for Miles was it gave him a sense of purpose, because at the time of the blackout he was kind of aimless. He was a soldier, but he didn't really know what his full purpose in life was. Blackout gave him some purpose. So in this scenario, we find Miles kind of purposeless again, and that was a lot of fun to play and a lot of fun to do, and it was a lot of fun for all the characters. We all sort of did this like plastic side version of our characters. It was a lot of fun.
In this scenario, are we going to see Miles' brother at all?
I don't know. You mean in that episode?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a possibility of seeing Ben again this season, but I don't think I'm allowed to speak about it.
Okay.
Do you see Miles in essentially heroic terms, or do you think in this world there is no ethical clarity?
I don't think there is any other. There's no clarity. That's one of the central themes of the show is it always wants to ask the question, well, what would you do and how far would you go? You never really know until you're in that situation. I think it speaks to all of us who have made decisions that we weren't necessarily proud of. And I think that's going to be an ongoing theme.
How is Miles going to feel about the developing triangle with Charlie, Connor, and Jace?
I talk with Kripke about that once in a while. I don't know how he's going to handle it. Again, what I like when I watch the show, what I like to see is the characters make choices that you would never believe that they would make. Those surprising choices speaks to kind of your question. Those ones that you just wouldn't words that you wouldn't see coming out of their mouths. So I hope that when it comes down to it, it's something unexpected. Because I think we would all expect him to go, to get all surly about it and overprotective, and But at this point, I mean, he's trusted her this much. She's a grown woman now. If I were Miles, I'd say, let her do what she wants. It's fine. So.